amongst others, NamRA Engagement Session with Clearing Agents and SME importers. Now, to give us a roundup of today's meeting is the Commissioner of the Namibia Revenue Agency, Sam Shivute. Very good evening to you, Mr. Shivute, and thank you so much for being here.
Good evening, ma'am, and thank you very much for having me in the studio. Thank you very much.
So, start off by telling our viewers why NamRA saw a need to host such a meeting.
Okay, at NamRA, we believe very much in the concept of stakeholder engagement. We want to engage our stakeholder. This is something that we have been doing since last year. We have been to all the regions in this country, engaging, educating, sharing information. And the only region that we have not visited is Kunene, but we will be in Kunene very soon. Now, the purpose of today's meeting really was, of late, there have been some concern or allegation by some importers saying that, alleging that their parcels or their goods are getting missing. Some people claiming that customs official or NamRA official are stealing their goods. And also that the process seems to be very inefficient and slow. So when we heard about that, initially we indicated, and we were very clear to the stakeholder to say that, look, at NamRA, at the center of all our value is the value of integrity. And we have a principle of zero tolerance to corruption. So we make sure that we continuously vet our staff. And also if we pick up that there is someone who is not behaving in accordance with the value of NamRA, then they do not belong in NamRA. So we then, instead of just saying that, look, if your goods have been stolen, please go to the police, the ACC, or to our internal affairs department and report. We also felt that it was necessary for us to engage the stakeholder. That's why we then invited all the stakeholders, the importers, the traders, or the SME importers, people call themselves Order With Me. We invited the clearing agents, we invited the media. We wanted all the stakeholders who are involved in the supply chain to be present. And I must say that the response to our invitation was very, very much overwhelming. First, we have to thank the Namibia Broadcasting Corporation, NBC, because they streamlined this event live. And then also the turnout from the business personality or the traders and also the clearing agents. It was a very overwhelming turnout, and members of the public were there.
So and it was a successful meeting?
Oh yes, it was a very successful meeting because the purpose of the meeting, for example, other than initially what we wanted to do is for us to make sure that we explain the process as to when goods comes into Namibia with a cargo, from there, the ground handling there, the warehousing, the clearance paid by custom, because customs, so NamRA Custom have a responsibility to ensure that all the goods that are imported in Namibia, exported from Namibia, they must be cleared. Yes. So then from clearing up to when the goods are handed over to the owner, we needed to clarify the processes and also the different role players who are involved. But for us to do that as well, we did not just want to speak to our stakeholder. We wanted a dialogue. We wanted to exchange information. That's why even before the presentation was done by the regional manager of Windhoek Master, Abnel David, we first let the clearing agents and also then the trader to express their concern, to share their experience. Those who may claiming that their goods have been stolen, to share what they know. And so we first gave them an opportunity to express themselves. Initially, the meeting was scheduled to last until 1 o'clock. But we took a principled decision to allow the people to speak their heart until the end. That's why we were there until about 4 o'clock. Then only after that, that we would then able to share with them the processes and different stakeholders. I'll give an example. For example, let's say someone is importing cell phone, because in the majority of the goods that are also being imported with regard to Order With Me, on top of the list are cell phone, new and also used cell phone. Right. But for example, when a cell phone is being imported into this country, is not only for the clearing agents to frame the custom declaration document, ensure that proper payment is done. The CREN, the Communication Regulation Authority of Namibia, need to do their work and make sure that that permission is given. It's the same if medication are being imported here. The other regulatory authority from a medical perspective need to give that authorization. So from a NamRA perspective, we were able to explain to the stakeholder that if everything is in order, we can clear the consignment in a day, in a period of within a period of 8 hours. But if there are other stakeholders involved sometime the challenges is beyond our control. Right. Secondly, with regard to the complaints of goods being stolen whilst in the custody of NamRA, we had one case where goods were stolen from a warehouse that we have custody of. But after a case was reported, investigation was done, and we found out that there was a private contracted security involved. We made sure that we refund the money of the owner of the goods. Then, of course, we reclaim the state money from that security company, and that is the case that we are aware of. However, we have many cases registered against some of the people working for clearing agents, stealing and so on. That's something beyond our control. When NamRA customs official clear goods, they don't do it just by themselves. They either do it in the presence of the ground handlers at the airport, because they are the one who have the warehouse, or in the presence of the clearing agent. Now what had happened is that the trader only had communication or contact with clearing agents, but sometimes when they are not getting answer, they did not have access to us. And today we have provided them that free access for them to come and clarify. Secondly, NamRA will never detain anyone's goods without giving a detention order. We only detain goods when goods are imported in this country where it's under-declared, non-declared, misclassified, or where there is an abuse of the rules of origin. It's when it can be confiscated, but there's also a provision for penalty, and if it's not paid for within 90 days, get forfeited to the state. Now, some of the delay. Now, within this trader, there's this concept, which is not within the law, where people group themselves together and they do what is called consolidated imports. So you will find 30 people ordering if it's one person. Now the challenge with that, and in one consignment came yesterday, for example, you will find a person, a suit, a two-piece nice suit, okay, is declared 7 Namibian dollars. So when a consignment like that happen, should we not do our work and ask ourselves questions? Something is not right here. 7 Namibian dollar. A few weeks ago, someone is going to get married, but the wedding gown, very beautiful one from China, the declaration that is declared to us for customs duty to be paid is that this wedding gown cost 20 Namibian dollars. And
is that perhaps not just a mistake or a typing error or something?
No, it's not a mistake, because 65% of goods that are being imported in this country, they are either under-declared, non-declared, or misclassified. That's why we say if NamRA do what we're supposed to do, how it's supposed to be done, this government will not need to borrow money, because a lot of under-declaration. What do you think about a consignment that comes at Valves Bay? A container full of jeans. Each jean is declared 20 Namibian cents. So what we are doing, our compliance...
Why does that happen? Just help us to understand. Why do people under-declare things? What are they trying to achieve through that?
Okay, what they try to achieve, because when you import things, you need to, especially when you are importing outside SACU, you need to pay customs duty,
right,
and also import duty, import VAT. Now, you pay import VAT if it's outside SACU, and also customs duty. And customs duty, it's paid depending on different items. It's not a standard amount. If it's for the cell phone, you can pay, the percentage could be different depending on the value. Now, when you declare the correct value, let's say you will find a person declaring, bringing a consignment of cell phone, 1,000 cell phone and it's declared that the total value is only 10,000. So those are things that were happening, and when our officials pick it up, because sometimes you can't 100% check each and every consignment because it's billion and billion of transaction. But when you pick it up, people want to say, no, I'm getting married tomorrow, I want this. $20 for a gown, 20 cents for a jean.
So that they can escape paying the different levies that are in place.
That's correct, yeah. And what happened, sometimes the traders are innocent, because what they do, like I say, you will find many people coming together and they do a consolidated import. Then when the order is done, they say, run now an agent in China who will also organize, then the things are sent here. And the funny thing is that the amount that our trader here pay and the amount that is coming from the invoice that come from the originating country where this import, always very different. That's why we are saying at this moment, let the Namibian people know that we are using this as education, because our compliance model, we say first we educate, we make service available before enforcement. It's the same reason with those who are trading in counterfeit. Counterfeit is also a criminal offense, but now we confiscate, we are educating. In the future, if you are buying things worth of 1,000 and you are telling us is $7, it can be a clear case of a fraud, because fraud is an unlawful and intentional misrepresentation of effect to defraud someone or to deprive someone, and that is the state. Truth be told, what is happening with regard to under-declaration, misclassification, abuse of rule of origin, tax evasion, tax avoidance, we need all Namibian, like our president say, hold hand and pull in the same direction, because the revenue that we are collecting does not come to NamRA. It's a revenue that is used to pay the social grant paid to that grandmother at that specific village, or that orphan who did not, because of this revenue or this social grant, a number of our people would have become destitute. So the meeting was so successful because we were able to rally behind and tell the people that we all want to see Namibian prosper. We want, one of our strategic objectives is to enhance trade facilitation and also improve service delivery. We want to see many Namibians succeeding in their business. We want to help them where we can within the confine of the law. But when you have a jean declared for 20 cents, especially that suit is only, we have a confidential law that don't declare people, but I would wish Namibian people to see that price. A suit, very beautiful suit, even better than this one, $7.50, a wedding gown 20, and apparently we must just close our eyes and pretend it's business as usual. It's not going to be business as usual, but we are going to work together. We want all the traders to be successful, because when they are successful, they contribute to the fiscus. That's good for everyone.
Well, Mr. Shivute, unfortunately, due to time, we cannot carry this conversation further, but I do hope that after this meeting and this engagement that you had today, that a lot of people now understand what is at stake, not only for themselves, but for the country as a whole. Yeah,
no, thank you very much, but we have also encouraged that I think by March we will have another meeting. Stakeholder engagement is one of our business. We love doing it and we'll continue doing it. Wonderful. And we want to be, want to be of service to the Namibian people, want to see Namibian businesses succeeding, but also we want, compliance with tax law, customs law as well. That will bring order in the country, and revenue collection is very important for us to be able to fund the sustainable development goals. So thank you very much again, and please, NBC, keep up the great work that you have been doing.
Thank you, Mr. Shivute. Sam Shivute, of course, he is the Commissioner of the Namibia Revenue Agency, speaking to us there about their engagement that was very successful today. Now, as the driest country in sub-Saharan Africa, with more than 80% of its land area covered by desert or semi-desert, Namibia regularly experiences extreme and prolonged periods of drought. Let's come back.